Hello and welcome to a video where I yap about my latest K-pop obsession, XLOV. They've been all over my TikTok for a while, and when I first saw them, I was like, wow, that's a unique concept. And then I was like, wait, these guys look familiar. Turns out 3 out of the 4 members were actually from Boys Planet. And honestly, I'm surprised I recognized Haru since I know he didn't make it that far. I think he was somewhere in like 60th place or something when he left. So I was kind of surprised that I remembered him since I feel like I've forgotten a lot of the earlier participants. But I guess that means he must have left a good impression. And ironically, he is now my bias of the group, which I think is pretty funny. It's great to see Wumuti finally getting to properly debut, and it sounds like he had been working on this group for literal years, so I'm happy to see that they're succeeding so well. They really went all out for their concepts, and honestly, I love that. They pull it off so well, and the dancing is like memorizing. I love the choreography, and I need to know if Rui is singing that one line where he like bends through a handstand, because how can he sing like at all, let alone stable, while his body is literally bent like a cereal bowl? I'm amazed. Also, Haru's little angel wing things that he has in some of his outfits, it looks adorable. I love it, and I'm totally going to steal that for a character design one day in the future. I don't know what the character will be, but I know I'm totally going to use it. So, for those of you that don't know XLOV, I'll do a little brief introduction. XLOV is a male K-pop group under 257 Entertainment with 4 members. Most of them are foreigners, besides one. There's Wumuti, which is the oldest and leader. He's Chinese and Uyghur, I think I said that right, and was on Boys Planet before. There's Rui, who's Taiwanese and was also on Boys Planet. He's extremely flexible and is also from Yuhua Entertainment, which, fun fact, I believe it was 4 members of the final lineup of Boys Planets that's now Zero Base 1 is also from Yuhua Entertainment. So they seem to pump out pretty successful idols. There's Hyun, who's Korean and has great vocals, and then there's Haru, who's Japanese, is the matinee in the group, and was also in Boys Planet. I heard the group is more or less self-produced, so they designed their choreography, music, I think I heard even their own outfits and makeup, so that's pretty cool. And they randomly popped up on my TikTok feed, I think from their latest comeback videos that were trending, and I could only survive so many before I finally caved, added the songs on my Spotify, and started to look up more about them. As far as I know, I think they're the only group with a genderless concept, and they're pulling it off pretty well so far. They've really gone all out with it, which I think really helps pull it all together. They do a pretty good job at it. And apparently, Wumuti has been friends with Hyun for a really long time, like literal years, and he met Rui and Haru from Boys Planet. So it sounds like all of them, or at least Wumuti, has known a lot of these members for a pretty long time. So it's pretty cool that they all get a debut together. And considering Wumuti is the one that not only knew all the members beforehand, but also from my understanding specifically chose the members for his group, it makes sense that he's the leader. It's kind of like Bangchan from Stray Kids. When I looked up about Wumuti to learn more about him, oh my gosh, this man has been all over the place. He's participated in like a ton of survival shows, not just Korean, but also Chinese survival shows, and has been in multiple groups from my understanding, including a C-pop group that I think was called Swim. It sounds like it was short-lived. It sounds like it was one of those groups that wasn't managed very well, so he left the group, and then was part of another group called the Water Fire, which was from a Korean survival show. But I think it was one of those survival shows where like the groups were kind of made ahead of time, and whatever group won was what the group that got keep going. So unfortunately, his group did not make it. They placed in 3rd, I believe. So he was technically in that group, but it was short-lived since he didn't make it past the finals, obviously. And yeah, considering all that, I can see why he's the leader. He has a wide range of talents, and he obviously has a ton of experience in groups already. And from my understanding of their dynamic, it sounds like he's the mom of the group, which totally makes sense. And seems to totally love Haru, which, of course, what eldest member of the group doesn't love the matinee. As for Haru, he's only 19, but still super talented and can dance really well. Like, with the way he controls his body during certain moves, especially in their one and only dance, it's perfect. I also love the current red hair he's wearing, but also it seems like he changes his hair color quite often, since I think he's also already had, like, what was it, like, black and brown, I think, hair? But I think red suits him really well. I also read that apparently when he first joined Boys Planet, he had either very little or like no formal training. So considering that, he's actually improved like a lot in the few years it's been since Boys Planet finished. I saw an old clip of him on Boys Planet during their entrance performances, and yeah, you can tell he's really improved. He's worked really hard. I can tell. You can see the results. But anyways, that's enough about XLOV, and instead I'll chat and yap about the actual drawing that I did. I originally planned for this to be a double page spread, but oh my gosh, this one drawing of Wumuti took me so long because the perspective was killing me. It was a struggle. I could not for the life of me figure out the legs for the longest time. I don't think it came out perfect, but for like my first real attempt at like a drawing with real perspective, I think it actually came out pretty well, so I'm happy with it. I almost gave up once or twice on his legs. I was like, maybe I just won't draw them, or like I'll cover them up with a sticker, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, no, I'm gonna push myself. to learn perspective, because this is something that I want to do in the sketchbook. It was a goal for my sketchbook to learn perspective. And now, here we are. I've done my first real perspective drawing in the sketchbook. I kind of did, like, kind of one for the cover of my sketchbook, like the very first page, but this perspective wasn't, like, super intense, but this was, like, a much more intense sketchbook. The pants were making it a nightmare, because I just could not tell what was happening with, like, the pants, because the pants had so many folds, and I tried to use my phone to kind of block out the shapes of the pose, and I just could not figure out what was going on with the leg. So, considering I could not figure out the legs from the photo itself, I'm surprised that the legs came out as good as I think they did, all considering. I was debating whether to line art it, color it, leave it as pencil, or maybe try some colored pencil. I found this new artist recently. I forget what the name is, so I'll pull it up on the screen right now. But I saw how they would replace the pencil sketch with colored pencil instead. And I've seen other artists, like the last Coffee Bean and stuff, do that, so I figured out, you know what, I should give it a try. And, like, you know what? Yeah, I like it. I think it gives it a different texture and look, and I think it really helped make the page look finished. I originally tried a black coal erase pencil, but I didn't like how light it was coming out, so I went and dug through my Prismacolors and couldn't find black, so I used a warm gray color instead, and it worked out pretty well. I wanted to add another doodle on this page, but honestly, there wasn't really any good spots on the page without having to erase part of Wumuti, which I didn't want to do. I didn't want to waste all my hard work. So instead, I just filled it up with some hearts, the name of the group, the name of Wumuti, and then their logo at the bottom right, since it felt like it was really empty. It needed something, but it wasn't big enough for really any, like, member. So I ended up drawing their logo, and even though I know technically speaking, their logo, like, says their name, I guess I just never, like, really figured out how it was saying their name in their logo. But then, as I drew it, I was like, oh, okay, I see. I see where the XLOV is in the logo. And it's a pretty cool logo, I like it. And then lastly, I added a border, which I think really just kind of helped bring it all together. Anyways, that's it. Who's your guys' bias in XLOV? Mine's Haru, so let me know in the comments, and your favorite song so far. Honestly, I'm really liking One and Only, which I know is what I think is, like, their most popular song at the moment. I have it on repeat when I'm walking my dogs and when working, but I also like I'm a Bee too. They only have, 3 or 4 songs, I think. But let me know what your favorites are in the comments below. And if you'd like to see me draw any other groups in the future, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll do a page for any of them when they have comebacks and stuff. Like TXT has a comeback soon, maybe I'll draw a TXT. But anyways, subscribe if you'd like to hear me yap about more K-pop groups in the future. And like it if you like it. Okay, bye-bye.